Hello, soul family. Welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, guys. So, how do you know that your shadow is making an appearance or acting out? Well, I can tell you that one clear sign that the shadow is making an appearance is when you are displaying self-sabotaging behavior and you start projecting. Many people, and that's including myself because I'm not perfect, okay? I feel that many people find it very difficult to see or acknowledge our bad traits, our undesirable traits in ourselves. But we see them very easily in other people, and we tend to point them out and cast judgment when we see them in other people. Now, the easiest ones to spot are the traits that reflect the ones that we hide. When we react to someone else's undesirable behavior or trait, it's called projecting. If we do our inner work, our shadow work, consciously, then we'll be able to recognize our shadow behavior before it misbehaves. The shadow's almost always projected. So once you become aware, you'll be able to catch yourself before you say something or do something that you may regret later. Once you become aware of, the inner work that you do, now this is, I'm going to get into it, but it's definitely a process. So how's the saying go? Practice makes progress. So it's definitely something that you'll need to practice, and then it will progress over time, and you'll be able to acknowledge what it feels like when your shadow self, your unresolved inner demons start to, rear their ugly head and try to make an appearance. So when we get that feeling to react to someone else's behavior, their undesirable traits, or bad habits, or something that they say or do that triggers us, what is really happening is that our minds are alerting us to deal with these undesirable traits that we have within ourselves. But because we won't, or maybe we can't because we're not aware of it yet. Some people are not aware of it yet, so they can't do something. They can't resolve something they're unaware of, right? And then you got the people that won't do it because either they don't know how, or they're just not ready to, do the inner work yet. But because some of us won't or can't or just don't, face them in our own selves, we seek those shadows out in other people. What we're doing is we are actually punishing other people for our own flaws and failures and bad behaviors and actions. So what we're doing is we're projecting. Now in this video, I wanted to bring awareness on how to engage with your shadow self so you can start to heal from those shadows and those traumas in your life. And reflection is a good place to start. Take some time out of your day to reflect and replay back your day in your mind and ask yourself, was there anything in my day that I could have done differently? Maybe you said something to someone you wish you hadn't, or maybe you could have said something differently or came across, differently than you did. Maybe you could have handled the situation much better than you did. Maybe you could have been more understanding or caring or compassionate or more kind. It's a possibility you handled the situation by projecting anger or frustration. And if you did, you can reflect to see if you could figure out a way as to why you had, shown or acted out with, those emotions and that behavior. Ask yourself, what did that person do to set me off? And try to see if this is something you struggle with, you know? And if it is something that you struggle with, then you need to reflect on that. If you can train your mind to be aware, anytime you make a judgment or feel envy or jealousy, you can ask yourself, what is making me feel this emotion? Why do I feel this way? Why is that person making me feel this way? Why is this situation making me feel this way? Reflect on that. Shadow work isn't just about making us better people, or, it's not stopping us from, it's not just stopping us from attacking those around us, that remind us of our worst traits and behaviors. It can help us heal from trauma, any kind of trauma, past life trauma, childhood trauma, relationship trauma. It can help you heal from any kind of trauma. It can help you heal from mental health issues, low self-esteem, and, so much more. Shadow work is very important work to do. Inner work is very important work to do, especially if you are on your path to enlightenment. Shadow work is something that you definitely want to embark on. Shadow work is all about confronting the sides of ourselves that we feel we need to hide away. So if there's something in your life that you feel that you need to keep it a secret and you need to hide it away because you're ashamed of it, then that is something that you need to face, and that is something that you need to work on. That's an issue that needs to be resolved. Because if you don't resolve it and you keep it hidden away and you don't pay any attention to it, ultimately, in the long run, it's going to make you sick, because it's a dis-ease, it's a discomfort that you're carrying around. It's a weight on your shoulders. Even though you're not thinking about it, it's still there. It's a weight on your shoulders. So it's a dis-ease in your body, which will create a disease in your body, which will then create an illness in your body. Every illness that you have in your body has a spiritual reason. And it could be because of what you're hiding away. It takes a lot of courage to do shadow work. Once you face your demons and do your inner work, you'll feel a lot lighter, a lot freer, a lot happier, and a lot healthier. Now, I want to give you 7 tips or talk about 7 tips or 7 ways to approach your shadow to help you heal. Number 1, cultivate self-compassion. Before you get to know your shadow, it's helpful to cultivate a sense of unconditional kindness with yourself. Without kindness, love, and self-compassion, it's difficult to look at our darker stuff. It's hard to face our demons, our trauma. If you try to always be a good person or the good person and strive for perfection, or if you're the kind of person that's always hard on yourself when you make a mistake, it's going to be difficult to confront your shadow, because you're not ready to face those fears yet. You're not ready to take on those demons. You're kind of comfortable where you're at. So you have to, it takes courage. You're going to have to want to do the work, to put the work in. But if you're not ready to be brutally honest with yourself, then you're not going to be able to resolve anything. You have to be able to be honest with yourself. How's the famous quote go? What you resist persists. So if you're the kind of person that's always striving for perfection, and if you make a mistake and you're hard on yourself, it's going to be difficult for you to confront your shadows, because it's going to be difficult for you to be honest to yourself, especially if you are hard and unforgiving to yourself when you make a mistake. If you are unforgiving to yourself when you make a mistake, maybe you are accustomed to, feeling shame or guilt. So that's why you strive for perfection, because, you feel shameful that you can't get it done just right, perfectly right. And you need to, that's a behavior that you really need to work on, because if that's really how you feel, and if you beat yourself up and that's how you treat yourself, you need to transmute these emotions with kindness. You need to learn how to be kind and accepting to yourself. You need to transmute these emotions with love, with compassion, compassion to self, and have self-acceptance. Start by accepting that you are a human. Okay, you're a human being. We make mistakes because we're only human. We all have shadows. We all have a shadow side to ourselves. We all have demons. We all have skeletons in our closet, no matter how big or small, these problems are, these demons are, these skeletons. We all have them. Something that seems big to me may not be that big to you, but it's big to me, and it creates a big problem for me. And we all have these big problems in our life. Okay? None of us are perfect. We're all human. And we have this human shit that we go through in life, and that's all there is to it. And you need to learn to just accept that and take it as it is. We're human. We're not AIs. We're not perfect. We're not robots. We are human. We are souls having this human experience. So just enjoy it and have it. And if you make a mistake, accept it. That's all you can do. Accept it. There's nothing wrong with facing your fears and owning up to your mistakes, accepting your feelings, admitting that you have demons, and admitting that you have a shadow side. When we ignore our shadow self or our shadow side, it will feel as if it has power over us. When we ignore it, it kind of takes control of us. It has this power over us. And then when it takes control and has this power over us, it creates real problems for us. From now on, I want you to accept that you are a human. And when you make a mistake, I challenge you to not beat yourself up over it. I want you to breathe it out instead. I want you to try this very simple exercise the next time that you make a whoopsie. The next time that you make a very human mistake, no matter how big or small it is. I want you to practice this breathing exercise, and I'm going to show it to you right now. I want you to breathe in. So anytime that you make a mistake, this is what I want you to do after you realize you just made a freaking mistake. I want you to breathe in and acknowledge your heart. Acknowledge your heart. Breathe in. Put your hand on your heart. Acknowledge your heart. So when you breathe in and you finally acknowledge your heart and you have it, you're like, okay, heart, I feel you. I acknowledge you. You're there. I want you to say, hello, heart. Hello. You can stop beating uncontrollably fast. I'm sorry to have thrown you out of rhythm. I'm sorry that I worried you. I'm sorry to have made you feel this fear, this panic, this anxiety. Then I want you to feel your heart for a moment. Then I want you to breathe out and say to your heart, thank you, heart. Thank you for reminding me that I'm alive and reminding me to focus on my trauma, my trauma response. Thank you for reminding me to focus on my trauma response. Thank you for alerting me to pay attention and to slow down and accept that I'm a human. because I have a heart that beats like a human. I'm alive, having this human experience. Thank you. I want you to do that next time you make a mistake. This is a practice that you can do. It's teaching you to not reprimand yourself, to stop reprimanding yourself. It's to teach you to not punish yourself. You know, stop punishing yourself for making human mistakes, no matter how big or small the mistake is. Forgive yourself and try to understand why you made the error and grow from it. It's cultivating self-awareness with compassion. Again, no matter how big or small the mistake is. It could be as small as sending an email, an angry email, to the wrong person. The lesson in that would be to teach you to slow down a little bit and to think before you respond first, and to think before you just press send. To, the lesson is just to slow down. No matter how big or small the mistake is, you need to stop beating yourself up over these mistakes, because you're doing things, you're responding and acting before you're understanding why you're acting and responding. And do that breath work and practice compassion and self-awareness. And that leads me to number 2, cultivate self-awareness. Seeing the shadow requires us to cultivate a self-reflective mindset. This is the ability to reflect and observe our behaviors, our thoughts, and our feelings. Mindful meditation is a good practice, is a good way to practice to help us to foster non-judgmental awareness, which is the ability to stay aware of the present moment without involving the inner critic, or which would be our shadow, the inner critic, or other modes of judgment. Self-awareness and self-reflection are precursors to shadow work because they help us observe and evaluate feelings and emotional reactions without judgment or criticism. Now, to cultivate self-awareness, you could start by journaling and documenting your day. You can do this as you reflect and write down your emotions that you experienced throughout the day, and document your reactions to the emotions that you've had throughout the day. It's a good way to take a good look at yourself and, train yourself to become more aware of self. It will help you address the shadow directly. It helps with cultivating mindfulness, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, empathy, and compassion. This is all of the resources. These are all of what I just mentioned, are all of the resources that are going to be very helpful for you while you're doing your shadow work. Number 3, practice awareness. Pay attention and watch your reactions. Remember that the shadow is elusive. It hides within us. We all have hosts of defense mechanisms that are designed to keep our shadows repressed and hidden. Shining the light of consciousness, aka awareness, on the shadow takes a lot of effort. It takes practice. It takes consistent practice. The shadow is like your demon, right? And you can think of yourself as the priest doing an exorcism on your shadows by shining a light on them, by shining awareness on them. You're bringing the demon, the shadow, to the surface so that you can transmute it. The more you pay attention to your behavior and emotions, the better chances that you'll have of catching your shadow in the act. Now, we tend to project our disowned parts, our shadow, onto other people, project, project, project. One of the best ways to identify your shadow is to pay attention to your emotional responses or reactions towards other people. Like, a good place to start is to pay attention to how you react when you're, when you're hanging out with your friends, or if you are communicating and hanging out with your family, people that are close to you. We tend to react more aggressively towards people that are closest to us. So it's a good place to start is with your family and your friends. You might be aggressive, you might be arrogant, you might be inconsiderate, or you might even be impatient. But if you don't have those same qualities within you, you won't have a strong reaction to their behavior. When they act it out, when they're acting out, when they're being impatient, or when they're being arrogant, or when they're being inconsiderate, if it doesn't bother you so much, then that inner work for you has been transmuted. You don't have it, or maybe you've never had it. But if you do have a reaction to any of that, then that's something that you have within yourself that you need to figure out why you have it. So if you're paying close attention, you can train yourself to notice your shadow when you witness strong negative emotional responses to other people. But we rarely have the time to work with those emotions like on the spot when it's happening. Because we're not aware of what we're going to say, because we're not conscious that we're doing the work. But so if you are going to put the work in, you say, you know what? I'm going to start working on myself. I'm going to start putting the work in. Then that's you making a conscious decision to become aware. And it's going to take practice to be conscious and aware of what you're thinking and what you're saying or about to say, or how your face is going to look and how your body language is going to be when you're around people that are annoying you. A lot of the times we act without awareness. That's why at the end of the day, it's helpful to just take, 5-10 minutes out of your day to reflect on your interactions with other people and, how, what were your related reactions. So whatever bothers you in another person, whatever bothers you is likely a disowned part within yourself. Get to know that part, accept it, make it a part of you. And next time, it may not even evoke such a strong emotional charge, or it won't even evoke any kind of charge at all. Number 4, be honest with yourself. None of this is going to work unless you're honest with yourself, because if you try to lie, you're not helping. You're not hurting anybody but yourself, because you're lying. You're not putting the work in. You're not being truthful. So, why even bother? So don't lie. Be honest with yourself. Self-honesty and integrity are a necessity for working with the shadow. True self-honesty means being willing to see these unpleasant attributes in yourself, in your behavior, and in your personality. It's usually uncomfortable to come to terms with your shadow self, your disowned parts, which is why the ego invests so much energy in repressing your shadows, your disowned parts. Seeing and accepting your insecure, selfishness, nasty parts, your mean behavior, your flaws, can be challenging, especially if you perceive yourself as a good person. Number 5, engage in inner dialogue. There are many forms of inner work, and engaging with your inner dialogue is just one of many ways to engage and practice shadow work. Okay? So engage with your shadow self, your dark side, by practicing in an active dialogue with yourself. At first, I know a lot of you guys are probably like, what, you want me to talk to myself? At first, this might even sound, like really ridiculous to some people. It might sound really stupid, like a really dumb idea, since a lot of people think that talking to yourself means that you're crazy. You're crazy if you talk to yourself, right? I always hear people say, what? You talk to yourself? You're crazy. You must be crazy if you're talking to yourself. Well, I'm not crazy. I talk to myself all the time. When I read that in dialoguing with yourself for shadow work, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I've always talked to myself, right? I guess I've always just been intuitively guided to dialogue with myself and my higher self and my shadow self. I'm always talking. I thought that was, I don't know, I guess I thought it was normal, but it's actually very healthy to help you, talk it out. Talk it out. You have the problem. The problem is within you. So I guess it's brilliant. Talk to yourself. Try to figure yourself out. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm always talking to myself and my higher self, like I said. So this engaging in dialogue with myself it comes natural to me. Now let me ask you, have you ever done something or said something and then wondered why did I say that? Why did I say that? You said it, you shouldn't have said it, and now you're like, shit, I said it. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? A part in you was taking charge. One of your disowned parts that I said that was going to cause trouble in your life, one of those disowned parts took charge of you and you said it or you did it. Your shadow part. Every so-called accident, when we say something we shouldn't have or did something we wish we could take back, is a shadow part that's hijacking your behavior. Our disowned parts aren't trying to hurt you or hurt us. Our disowned parts aren't trying to hurt us. But when we ignore or deny them, they tend to hurt us. It's actually, when it seems like they're trying to hurt us, it's kind of like alerting us that it's something that we need to work on. But if we ignore it and we don't put the work in, it hurts us. So by dialoguing with those disowned parts, and you don't have to say it out loud. You can dialogue in your head. You don't have to talk out loud. If talking out loud makes you feel crazy, you could dialogue in your mind, in your imagination. Or you could even journal, because when I journal, I hear a voice in my head as I write on paper. So you could do that too. That's a good way to dialogue too, I guess. So by dialoguing, we can integrate those parts into our conscious selves. And then they become our allies instead of our enemies, and they will no longer hurt us anymore because we'll be aware, because we're practicing our inner work. We're putting the work in. You're becoming conscious of what you're saying, thinking, and doing. And then you won't cause trouble for yourself because you won't say something you shouldn't have, because you would have consciously thought about what you were about to say, but then stopped yourself from saying it and then tried to figure out why you felt that way. So you just pump the brakes on yourself. So try it. I challenge you to dialogue. Number 6, own up to your projections. Because we repress the shadow self, we project them onto other people. The fundamental process of shadow work is owning up to your projections. Owning up to what you're doing. Own it up. Own up to it. Take control. Be honest with yourself. To own up to your projections, you'll need to become conscious or aware that you are projecting onto others. Focus on what and who invokes an emotional charge, an emotional response, reaction in you. It doesn't matter what the emotion is. If you have an emotional charge and you feel like you need to react or you're going to react, it's a clue that you are denying something within you and you need to put the work in. You have some shadow work to do. Number 7, record and document your shadow work journey. I feel when our shadow self hides so well, it's because we are ashamed to face that aspect of our shadow self. Now there's going to be disowned parts of us, shadows that we have to face, and we will face them. But I feel like there are some of us that will have a shadow side or a shadow self of themselves that's just a little bit darker than the others. And it might be just a little bit more harder, more difficult, more challenging to face them. And they hide much better. And you think that you're not thinking about it, but you really are. It's in the back of your mind, and it's causing disease in your body. And you don't know that this disease that you have in your body is because of this really dark shadow that you refuse to face. And you just keep suppressing it and suppressing it and suppressing it and suppressing it until it, leaks out of you as an illness. So like I said, I feel that some shadow selves or aspects of us that are really hard for us to face, it's because we're ashamed to face that shadow self. These are the tough ones to face, and they're the tough ones to remove. And it could be anything from, I don't know, I would assume that the really tough ones would be anything from maybe like an affair or like maybe an abortion, because that could be a really tough pill to swallow for some people. It could be as simple as saying, even though it's not simple, but it could be, anything like maybe you said something very, very mean to someone that you love very, very much and you can't take back, and you ruined your relationship with that person because your words were a weapon that just like killed it all, and you'll never have that relationship back again. I mean, it could be anything from, something really, I don't know, anything that's just really big that you could feel, I don't know, ashamed to face, something like that. So journaling and documenting your process is really going to be helpful, for you to recall your prior emotions and reactions that you had. If you journal, it's a good way to record new discoveries about yourself as well. Writing your insights and reviewing them later on helps encode the discovery into your awareness. I have journals, like I showed you guys in my last video. I have journals that I wrote in for years and years and years and years and years. And sometimes I just read through them. Sometimes I just scribble nonsense. Sometimes I just write out stories upon stories upon stories. And it's a good way to document your journey. You can see how far you've come. You can see, if there's a pattern. You can see if there's still something that you need to work on. So definitely I would recommend journaling, some aspect of journaling. If you video record it or audio record it, or, you write it on paper or you type it up and you put it on your laptop. Journaling, document your journey. You'll thank me later. So in my next video, my third video, I want to do some shadow work exercises with you. So I'm debating if I should go live or not. I'll let you know. If you guys want me to go live for that video, let me know down below. And if enough of you guys say that I should go live, then I'll go live. Okay? I love you guys. Remember, be kind to yourself. Be kind to other people. Be loving, compassionate to yourself and to other people. I love you.